Mhm. Now, Angelique, are you going to be sharing with us?
Since it's my first time, I thought I would just check it out. If that's
Okay,
okay.
awesome.
Do you need me to go hide? I can watch it on YouTube.
No, I don't need you to go hide at all.
Okay.
No, it's nice seeing your face.
All right, wonderful. So, welcome to another first Sunday, which is actually the second Sunday because I didn't realize that the first Sunday was the first. With Black Poet Laureates, I am your host, Raya Carmen. I'll try and not look like a scary skeleton on here and get that light. All right, and today I have with me the amazing Terry E. Carter, who has experienced some wonderful changes in life.
Oh.
And I'm sure you're going to tell us a little bit about that and share some poetry and what you have coming up. And if anybody has any questions, jot those in chat on YouTube, and I will be happy to ask him. Um, if you're watching this live or if you're coming back to watch it later, I just know that you are going to have a great time with us. So I'm Raya Sunshine, and I'm here with Terry E. Carter. So, Terry, what's going on in your world?
Oh my goodness. You kind of alluded to it a little bit a couple months ago now. It's about Octoberish. My wife and I, who have been serving in a pastoral capacity at our church, were formally ordained. So we're now Pastor Terry E. and Teresa J. Carter. So
Huh?
this
Hey, give him the word. So, does that mean?
it's funny because you think you know what a thing will be, you know, until the thing, becomes what it's supposed to be, and then you wonder, well, what is this thing going to be? So, but
Oh, yeah.
we're serving, just loving the Lord and loving His people, and
Mm-hmm.
just trying to be the best examples we can of, kind of the behavior that we think that Christ will want us to model. And whatever else happens, however, whatever other capacity. I mean, I've preached and spoken in a bunch of different places. I actually have never preached at my home church. Um, their style is very different
Okay.
mine. And I always want to make sure that poetry is a part of what I do when I speak, because that's my principal gifting. So, and I feel very, very much empowered to speak the word of God through the vehicle of poetry. So, and I haven't gotten my folks there at the church I serve at in terms of senior pastor, and that's not his flow quite yet, but we're talking, and we'll see what happens. And in the
Okay.
meantime, the church without walls is a good place for me to be and go and do what I do. So that's what we'll continue to do. But we MC and we minister and we teach and we do a bunch of other stuff. So like I say, we've been in a pastoral capacity and would lead deacons as well, for many, many years. So it's all good. It's all good. It's all God. Whatever He wants, that's what we'll do. What we'll do.
So, um, so help me
Mhm.
understand. So
Yeah.
you're not the senior pastor.
No, no, no,
You're
no.
just like a
No,
campus.
we're termed associate pastors.
Got you. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. That makes sense. Okay, okay.
Yeah. No, no, it's there's a long way between here and there. And again, that's not really that. I don't think that that's the path that He has us, you know on, church planting, or whatever. I think He just wants us to be the hands and feet, and I'm good with that. I'm
Got you. Okay.
absolutely good with that. Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's see. What I was trying to do was post the link, but I can't get to the doggone Facebook to post it so that everybody can see it.
Hmm.
Let's see.
You know, we're in that season now where everybody is like running around trying to do 100 different things and get ready for these holidays and all of that. So, I
Oh
mean,
yes.
I can certainly understand, um, if we get
Let's
a lot of
see.
look-sees.
Try again.
You know, the beauty of the medium is that, the gratification can be delayed.
True.
And folks can come back to it kind of at their leisure. So, and I've done that many a time myself. So, that's the move sometimes.
All right. I think I got it now. Okay. There we go.
All righty.
Whew. You can tell we haven't done a Black Poet Laureates on this particular computer in a while. So
Yeah.
that's what happened there.
All
All
right.
right,
All
there.
right.
Let's post this link now. Tell everybody to come and kick it with us.
Come on, hang
All
out.
right. All right. Boom, boom. Okay. So Terry, now you said that you have a new book
Well, I have a new book in process.
in process.
So
Okay.
I'm,
Tell us
I'm,
about that. Where did this one stem from, or the motivation for this one stem from?
the number seven, right? The
Okay.
Bible, is perfect number. And it's funny, when I started out, I didn't even intend to write two, let alone, working on a seventh. But, if he keeps giving it to you, then, write the vision down, Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision down, make it plain, put it on tablets and so that the herald can run with it and all of that sort of stuff. I just wanted to, it's part of the legacy that I feel like I'm leaving for my daughter, you know.
Okay.
Whether or not she embraces it is her own choice, but I want to make sure that I did what I was sent to do as as a messenger, and that I continue to flow in my gifting, and try and show myself approved.
Now
So
is she a writer?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. She's I hope she's not watching. Because she get the big head. She's a better poet than I am. And
She get the big head.
yeah, and she's her principal gifting is she's an actress. She's in Brooklyn,
Okay.
pursuing, stage opportunities and doing that thing. We're struggling to help her stay there, man, because New York is crazy,
Yeah.
it, expense wise and all of that, living wise, it's crazy. So we struggling to help her, but it's what she wants to do. And as parents, you just try and help your children make their dreams come true as best you can for as long as you can.
That's right. I know that's the
Yeah,
truth.
yeah.
Yeah, for goodness, I have. I think we've talked about this before. I
Hmm.
have a little musician. He is a
Uh-huh.
drummer, and wow.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand. Just that dynamic of trying to make sure that these people that we have brought into this world
Hmm. Hmm.
are are happy and getting the
Yeah.
things that they need
Yeah.
without definitely shirking
Mhm.
um, our own selves in the
Yeah,
process.
yeah. Well, you've had a busy year, you know.
It
Um,
was.
Really,
You know
yeah. I
how
mean, as I, try to pay attention to what, all of our different laureates are doing, and that's hard to do anyways. But, between the shows and, the pros and all of the different things that you got your fingers in, you've been busy. And then, trying to conduct business with us laureates,
yeah, y'all
you
aren't
know,
the easiest people.
I have a I direct elder services at a community center, and I always say about them, I said it's like herding cats.
It is. I
Yeah,
mean, it's so much creativity in the group, and there's
yeah,
so many amazing people.
yeah.
I would love to be able to meet everybody one day.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but just kind of getting things going is
Right.
always like trying to push, push, push. But
Yeah.
it's worth it because what we do in this world and in America is history.
Absolutely.
Making history every day,
That's right.
Black laureates, and so what we do as a group is powerful.
Absolutely.
So it's
Yeah.
worth the work.
It's significant. It's significant. And kind of as an emeritus, I've, am really, kind of just now coming into a full recognition of, kind of the gift that the city of Medford, kind of gave me and conveying that on me, because it's really, really made a difference in, my 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 reach, and
Hmm.
also in my outreach. So I'm feel very, very blessed to have had the opportunity, and between the anthology, and in these, convenings, and meeting, some of the other poets, and sitting beside them, and chatting it up, chopping it up with you. um it's historic, and it's important, and we'll all look back on it at some point in time and said, man, we did a thing, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And really it's kind of like what you said, it's a legacy.
yeah,
And we want to leave for another generation of Black poet laureates
right. That's right.
that can continue the work and continue the outreach that we all are doing. So
Yeah.
so you said emeritus, emeritus. You are no longer serving, but I know
No.
that you're still busy. Still
Yeah, yeah, very busy. As a matter of fact, I do a monthly program at my community center, a public events program called Words and Music. And what we do is we do an hour of moderated talk on, topic of community interest, and then we do an hour of live music. And
nice.
so this past Friday, I had the current poet laureate on for the interview portion, and we both read some poetry, and then we had a an Afro-Caribbean jazz band for the music. So it was fly, it was nice. It was a good evening. It was a
I
good
like
evening.
that. I
Yeah,
like that a lot.
yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah. So
All right,
that's
so
one of the things that kind of keeps me busy, because I'm kind of soup to nuts on this one, because we don't have staff. So basically, I gotta, procure whoever we're gonna have, whether it's a panel or whether it's an individual for the interview piece. And then I gotta get out there and beat the bushes and find something good musically for folks to listen to. So it's nice because it's live, but we also have the local cable folks come in, and they film it, and it's archived, and streamed to YouTube and all of that different stuff, so people can see it in a lot of different ways. So it works.
okay.
It works. It
Yeah,
works.
that's good.
Yeah.
I do. I just got asked to do a new open mic series, and so it's every month. And I just kind of stumbled into what I want it to be.
Uh-huh.
So have a DJ now,
Yep.
and we'll make it what I want it to be. It was kind of like, am I gonna do it or am I not gonna do it? And
Mhm.
then once I finally decided to do it, then it's like, okay, now I need to take over and make it my thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in addition to the poetry, which is most excellent, one of your other gifting, I think, is, you know, the miscongeniality piece, you know? So you got a good facility for bringing folks together and, getting them to, to chat and fellowship and all of that stuff. So I'm sure it's going to be exactly what you want it to be, and it's going to be successful. It's going to be nice. So,
Thank you.
if I was
Thank you.
down your way, I'd be trying to get you to put a brother on. So, so yeah, so I'm happy for you because you just do so many different things that this is just one more, feather in your cap.
Well, yeah, I do a lot,
You do
and
a lot.
just yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just trying to leave the mark that God has asked me to leave on this
Yeah.
world. Um, I did want to talk to you, and just kind of pick your brain because as a man of faith and
Hmm.
and everything, what type of things are you writing right now? I know that a lot of people of faith
Hmm.
have been, I don't want to say losing it,
Hmm.
but not digging into the soil
Hmm.
of their
I
faith
hear what you're saying. Yeah.
during this time.
Yes.
Am I making
It's
sense what I'm asking?
You're making perfect sense. And I think for me, I think, faith manifests itself in a whole bunch of different ways.
Hmm.
And I think that one of the ways that we express our faith is in seeing what our Father would see as injustice and addressing it. So it may not even have a biblical perspective, but if it in fact is calling to account, you know, people that are out there doing us wrong, or systems that need to be broken down, retooled, whatever,
Hmm.
then that's his work for us too. So,
Mm.
so like a lot of, especially in this seventh book, a lot of what I'm dealing with is, I'm dealing with diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm dealing with racism. I'm dealing with classism and casteism. I'm dealing with a bunch of isms because right now, that's where we're at. We're in a place where it's coming at us, and it's coming at us real fast. And I think we have to be nimble enough as poets to deal with it as
Hmm.
fast as it comes at us. You know, now it does leave time for me to express myself as a man of God poetically as well. So I've been
Hmm.
doing that too. And the funny thing about it is, Ray, that is mostly dealing with my imperfections.
Wow.
you
Okay.
know yeah, because I think one of the things that kind of happens, when you get whatever anointing you get, pastorally speaking, is, kind of people, some folks may, want to put you up on a little pedestal,
Yeah.
and we're human, you know and we're not any less human than the people that we're trying to minister to. We're just called out.
Right.
Is called out. So I just want to make sure when I'm writing, about me, that I'm not writing about me as an exalted thing, as the God is no respecter of persons. So I'm, whatever title I may aspire to, he ain't got, dang, we're like filthy rags. So I'm just, I'm trying to be humble, and I'm trying to be
Mhm.
human, but at the same time, I'm trying to acknowledge the divine that's in all of us.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I think that's a really thin line to walk.
Mm.
To be human, but
Hmm.
also to realize that you are a leader.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you have to be human in private,
Mm.
because people are looking at you.
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
You're making
Um,
absolute sense. It's funny because that really resonates with one of the things that we do is prior to service, whoever is emceeing, we gather all of the servants together and we do a huddle, and what I was talking about this morning is I was talking about godly humility and how
Mm-hmm.
we have to walk before the world circumspectly, but with humility, because we need for folks to realize that we're just like them, you know.
Yeah.
We're just like them. We want to be relatable, um, and we want to be we want to obviously model Christ-like behavior as best we can, but we don't want to hold ourselves to such a high standard that the people that are around us think that we're inaccessible and unattainable.
Right, 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 right. And that's like I said, that's just it's a really thin line to walk, you
Hmm.
know, because I think I guess I think about it. I'm a mom, right? And
Yes,
I want my sons to understand that I'm human, but that there's a part of this humanity that they don't need to see because they still need to feel safe.
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Like
Like,
that.
so
Yeah.
they can't see some of the times where I'm breaking down because that makes them question their own safety and build an anxiety in them. So I have to learn sometimes that's not what we show. Like that's what me and my husband have to pray about,
That's
and
that's
and
profound.
and
Yes.
have our time in private, so
Yeah.
that the boys know, no matter what, even if we're worried, they're safe, they're taken
Yeah.
care of. That the people that
Wow.
they've put themselves under are still caring for them in the midst of going through.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's been times where I have to tell my boys, right now, I just need you to let mommy have a moment.
Hmm.
Right? You just have to
Yeah.
let me go upstairs and let me
Yeah.
have my moment. Then we'll talk. Um, and understanding that I can't put that pressure on them
Mhm.
to have to question their own safety and their own
Mm.
security in
Mhm.
that moment. I don't know. I
No,
could be thinking
that's
through
that's
that wrong.
that's that's wonderful the way that you stated that. In that you recognize that the only way that you can have the strength that you need to have as a household leader is if you can get those moments of
Hmm.
vulnerability, in those quiet moments when you can, if you need to cry, if you need to wail, gnashing the teeth, bay at the moon, whatever it is you got to do, you need that in order to come back and say, okay, we ready, let's go get it.
Right, right.
When the family's ready, let's go get it.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I love
I
that.
think for me, what I see sometimes is that, especially some spiritual leaders, don't know how to have those moments in private. And they have those breakdown moments so that everybody sees it.
Yeah.
And then the people who are looking to them to be a leader are like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
we ain't secure no more. Like, do we
Yeah.
have the covering that we thought we did? And those type of things. And so, I don't know.
Yeah.
This has been an interesting last month.
It definitely has. It definitely has, because some of the strongest players out there have, for the first time shown some of the chinks in their armor, shown that they don't feel that Superman complex anymore, because, you know, it's going to get more real than maybe any of them thought it ever would again, you know. And we gotta kind of be ready. Got to kind
Yeah.
of be ready. But vulnerability is important, you know.
Yeah, I think the vulnerability is absolutely
It's important.
important.
It's important. It's every bit as important as the transparency.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love that.
All right. Hey,
So,
you want some
you got some
poetry?
poems for me?
I got some. So book seven, like I said, book seven's a little hard, you know. I mean, it's not Kendrick Lamar hard, but there's some truth out there that we got to get to.
Oh yeah.
We got to get to it, right? So let me read this piece that's going to be in the new book, and I'm still kind of workshopping a couple of things. They're not as refined as I hope they eventually will be, but this one is pretty well healed. So I'm going to go on ahead and do it. It's called The New Truth.
Okay.
The new truth isn't really new at all. We've always known it. We've always known that hate invited itself to America 400 years ago. We've always known that the thin cover of religious freedom was also a thick blanket for native persecution and exploitation. Those epic ocean sojourns led pious pilgrims to progressive destruction of indigenous nations and old world relations, tribal entities, and ancient cultural realities. We've always known that when they couldn't tame the rugged landscape of stolen forest, field, and stream, they authored the peculiar institution, contrary to their own contrived constitution, ever right to rape and pillage souls collected from tribe and village, led to gates of no return, African worlds left to wither and burn, lessons our children could seldom learn, an education for which we yearn of human cargo stern to stern. A full hold for the seafaring barbarians, lies told by a bunch of racist contrarians. A warm shelter for the slave master and the plantation table, a cruel and ugly, too true fable. The first iteration of homegrown American terrorism, a reverberating color, caste, and class schism. We've always known that the urge to supremacy and patriarchy and hegemony and domination are woven into the DNA of European colonization. We've always known that the colonized would never yield its advantages and privileges and ill-begotten gains without prosecution and bloodshed and persecution. We've always known that enough is never enough for the upper hand, never enough for the top dog, never enough for the big boss, never enough for the head honcho, never enough for the man in charge, never enough for the great white hope. We've always known that there would be more Wilmingtons and more Rosewoods and Greenwood districts and more 16th Street Baptists and Emmett Tills, more strung up Negroes in them there hills, more Goodman, Schwerners, and Cheneys, more complex blues from more Ma Rainey's, more Medgars, Malcolms, and Martins, more mayhem, murder, assassinations, and executions, more tipping points toward final solutions. We've always known that history's worst cruelties, greatest calamities, most epic tragedies, and most alarming travesties, unchecked, were bound to be repeated. That new Holocausts percolate in the underbelly of the xenophobia, greed, and power lust of the Eurocentric psyche. We've always known that the swastikas weren't ever retired, that the white sheets and hoods were freshly laundered and neatly folded for another day, that flags of the Confederacy and the Don't Tread on Me Yellow Viper banners, while somewhat disapproved, were never disappeared, for a moment disallowed, but never ever disavowed. The new truth isn't really new at all. We've always known it. We've always known that the chickens would in time come home to roost, that the ancient trees would again find limbs for the noose, that demagogues would savor the boost, that militias and posses would soon be loose, that the growing police state would empower such abuse, that thirsty, hateful fools would drink the purple juice. We couldn't tell how it would again manifest. We couldn't predict all this zeal and zest. We're watching you now stomp and pound your chest. Your snakes have invaded the noble eagle's nest. You truly believe that you'll be blessed. You didn't study before the test. You put your faith in a fraudulent crest. Fool's gold will surely end your quest. You're not the place where he'll invest. Father and mother didn't know best. You think we're finished? Surely you jest. The people's defense will never rest. A new school panther will arise, endowed with power to shock and surprise, resplendent as the starlit skies, rebuking the hate and rage and lies. This revolution we will televise.
Woo woo! I tell you, I had to put that in the group. I said Terry is killing this poem right here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, but see, that's what I mean because it's the truth, and it's the truth based on what the word says is wrong,
Hmm.
and what the word says, tighten up, get it out there, let folks chew on it, and figure out what they got to do better.
Yeah.
And God didn't, he didn't want us to punk down.
Nah, nah,
At the
no.
end of the game, at the end of the day, he's like, put on the full armor of God and get your undergird yourself up for whatever fight you gotta fight.
Yeah.
So,
My husband always talks about it. He said the Bible don't talk about punks. He
no,
said talk about warriors.
no. And Jesus wasn't having it. Jesus went into the temple and upset all of the stuff because they was in there clowning and he wasn't having it.
Yep,
Wasn't having
warriors.
it, was not
You
having it.
gotta appreciate the warriors. I
Yeah,
love it.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So that is, part of where I'm at. And then one of the other places that I'm at, and you know this from, past conversations that we've had, and actually things that, we as a society, a BPL society have needed to do in order to kind of qualify and quantify who we are, where we are
Yep.
as laureates. We talk a lot about home. So a lot of the poetry that I write is very regional,
Yeah.
and like, but what I try to do is I try and connect it to common experiences that a lot of our folks are having wherever they are in the country. So even though it's Medford, Massachusetts, a little bump on the butt of a hippo, it's still relatable because some of the stuff that's happening here is happening down where you are, and where Henry is, and where Roscoe is, and where Joseph is, and where Angelique is, and where a lot of our other laureates are, you know.
Yeah, and that's
They're
what we want
experiencing the same
is to
thing.
have that connectedness so that we can say, "Hey, I'm doing an event and I need 4 or 5, dope poets to come through," and we have that interconnectedness now, where we could say, "Hey, you
Yeah.
know," or if we have somebody, I know I have people reach out to me all the time and they're, "Oh, can you come here?" And I'm like, "I can't come, but I know a poet laureate close to you,"
Mhm.
and I trust that they'll come in
Yeah.
and do a great job. So,
Yeah, and I think that again, that's, and you've been principal in creating this, that is part of, the fellowship, this notion that, you know it's a phone call, it's an email, it's a text away from making that kind of a connection where I can't get there physically, but I got people, you know, I got people.
hmm
Yeah. Because I'm looking forward to, I mean, I've connected with poet laureates in my area, but the truth of the matter is they're not poet laureates of color. So
right.
I'm still, well, one kind of is, but I'm still waiting for, an opportunity. I was trying to get to, there's a sister in Maine, and then there's a sister in New Hampshire, uh,
hmm
that I was trying to, kind of foster some kind of connection with, but we just, for whatever reason, we weren't really able to, have a meeting of the minds. Because I can get to Maine, I can get to New Hampshire, and they can get to Massachusetts, and
Yeah,
we could have done something really nice together.
and you still can.
Yeah, no, no, it's
I know that we are just, I think, 2 or 3 poets away from our mark
mm-hmm.
before we apply for the not-for-profit status that will let
Okay,
us then get more grants and
good,
have money so that,
yeah,
if a Black Poet Laureate wants to do a program and bring 2 other Black Poet Laureates, they can apply for the funds and
yeah,
we'll have it to be able to say, hey,
beautiful,
here you go.
yeah,
So that's what we want to be able to do, moving forward, which is why it's so important, BPLs, if you are listening, for you to join the movement because we're really, really close. But I'm not comfortable being really close.
Hmm.
I want to do
Yeah,
it over because
yeah,
once we get it started, I don't want it to stop. You know what
understood.
I
You
mean?
know, and
Like
that makes
we
perfect
want
sense.
it to
You
to
know,
really be successful.
keep that energy going. Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
let's see. So you got your pastor now. You got this new book coming out. You
Uh-huh.
got your monthly thing happening.
Yeah.
Like I think people always look to us to be the voice of the nation,
Hmm.
right? What starts to happen when we're not saying the same thing?
Um, I think people are going to have to get used to the fact that it's not going to be docile for a minute. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of peace to it. You know, I mean, it's going to be hard. It's going to be raw, especially if things take a significant turn for the worse and they start trying to beat up on folk. You know,
Right.
because we're going to have to be some of the voices that people can turn to say it's got to be said in a different way because people ain't understanding it the way that it's
Yeah.
being said.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
I
yeah,
think that that's the problem is
yeah,
it's not being said. It's not being said in a way that's palatable
mhm,
for the larger
yeah,
community. Does that
yeah,
make sense?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. For the larger, in all honesty, for the smaller community, sometimes too. You know,
Yeah, I think
um,
you could say a lot of things, right?
yeah,
You can say anything. What my mom used to always say is not what you say, it's how you say it,
I say
right?
it.
So
Hmm.
we could talk about the issues that are happening in our community, in our educational systems, and
Yeah,
um, you know, all around the nation through poverty and
hmm,
discrimination and
yeah,
all those things. They can be talked about.
yeah,
But we have to find the way to talk about them so that it's not off-putting
right,
and people stop listening.
right.
You know, um, I know I've often, have conversations with my husband and I say, you can talk to me about anything, just don't yell at me. Because as
Hmm.
soon as you start yelling at me, I'm not
Yeah,
listening
yeah.
anymore.
You shut
Right?
down a little bit.
I shut
Yeah,
down a little bit.
yeah,
And so finding that happy place
yeah,
where we can say the hard things that need to be said and then be received
yeah.
because if they're not ever received, we won't see any changes.
Hmm. Well, that's communication 101 for couples. You know, I mean, when we do premarital counseling, that's one of the first things we got to deal with. We got to deal with is how to fight fair,
Mm-hmm.
how to have high conversations, how to not be disrespectful, you know,
Yeah.
in different discussions, how to arrive at agreement on issues that,
Right. Right. Because
there's a lot in what you say, sis.
yeah, I
A
mean because
lot in what you say.
we have to live in this country
Yeah,
together.
yeah, we do.
That's
We do.
that's where we're at, right? We're
Yeah,
we're here. There's not going to be, a mass exodus where we can just be like, "Hey, deuces, we out." That's not happening. So, since we have to all live together, this world is our house,
yeah,
and learning how to communicate with one another, excuse me,
yes, of course.
is key.
Yeah.
It's key
And
to
I,
the
and I
success.
think what's going to happen is, I said this to a brother I was talking to earlier today, is that communities that have common interests, they're really going to have to find some different and new ways to kind of take care of each other.
Yes.
Especially when help stops coming from places that they thought because of years of past practice, it was always going to be coming from. You're
Right.
always going to be getting this, right? Where it's already been said in many ways that, well, we ain't doing that no more. We ain't doing
Mm-hmm.
this no more. And we ain't doing that no more. So y'all, if y'all was expecting X, Y, and Z, y'all better find some different letters, because X, Y, and Z is long gone and hard to find. So I think that,
XYZ is gone. They
yeah,
gotta find,
yeah,
add some letters onto the alphabet at
you
this
know what I'm
point.
saying? Right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to figure out in community how to take better care of each other, how to be more responsive to, hunger, how to be more responsive to mental illness, how to be more responsive to healthcare emergencies. We just,
Hmm.
as communities, we're just going to have to take care of each other better. And that
That's it.
mentality is one of the things that we're going to need to do as poets is we're going to need to teach.
Yeah.
We're going to need to teach what community really is from the unique perspective that we have as poets.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
language and we've got methodology that's different from everything else that's out there.
Yeah. And that's the reason why we can take hard topics
Yeah,
into rooms that have not previously accepted our points of view and have it heard.
yeah,
And it's a gift, right? It's something that God gave us to
yeah,
be able to do just that,
yeah,
right? To turn the ear of the king.
yeah. Because it's funny if you go to a church and pastor is saying good things, but he's not saying them the way that you're used to hearing them or want to hear them,
Mm-hmm.
you start shopping for another church. You
Yeah.
don't try and retrain yourself to hear that pastor the way that he needs
No,
to
you
be
don't.
heard. You
Because
say,
we want
"Oh
to
no,
hear
he's
things
not.
the way we want to hear them.
That's not for me. I'm out. Peace."
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the one thing that's a little bit different with poets is that people don't necessarily have a concept of how they want to hear what the poet is going to say. So it gives a poet a little bit of extra latitude coming in the door because uh because people will go, "Oh, I didn't know it was supposed to sound like that. Whoa."
Right. I didn't know I was supposed to hear it that
Yeah,
way.
exactly,
But
exactly.
I finally heard it. And that's the thing, is to get them
Yeah,
to finally hear it.
right.
To get us in, like I said, in front of the audiences that don't hear it any other way.
Yeah, yeah. And folks who were unwilling to lean into the media, who were willing to lean into the pastors, to the educators, and whatever. When the poets come, all of a sudden they're, well, let me lean into this because I don't really know what this is, and if I don't pay attention, I ain't gonna get it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and I love having that latitude when I go into a room. Folks don't necessarily know what to expect. But when I start, they automatically seem to say, okay, I gotta pay better attention because he's saying something I've never heard said like that
Said
before.
like this. Yes.
Exactly,
That's it. That's it.
exactly.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what it is. Yeah. So you being having the capacity to to grab that ear,
yeah,
even
yeah.
even when it didn't know it wanted to be grabbed.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
like so
That's
many
right.
people are like, oh, I don't really like poems, whatever, you know,
Mhm.
till they hear us.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes it's like shock and awe, but
Mm-hmm.
but if they at least come into the room with a somewhat open mind,
Mm-hmm.
they can get something that they can't get nowhere else.
That's good. Yeah.
And when folks come back to us, and I'm sure you've experienced this, yourself, in terms of return engagements, when folks come back to us, it's because, listen, ever since you left that room, I haven't heard nothing that sounds like what you said when you were there.
Yeah. So that's why we got to keep
We
having you
need some
back.
more of that. We need some more of
Mm-hmm.
that. So can you come back?
Yeah.
I love return engagements. I love that. Yeah, I love that. So
Cool. You got another poem for us?
let me try one more piece and you tell me what you think. So again, I started the conversation by saying we write a lot about home. We write a lot about what we know about. So this piece is again about the experience of growing up in West Medford and how things have changed over the years. This is called Corner Lot. Standing at the apex of Arlington and Jerome, trying to remember the black and the brown and the tan. Ronnie and Otis used to live in that big house on the corner lot. It's probably changed hands half a dozen times since then. Current owner's been there for a minute. He's good with his hands and he knows his way around wood and tools. Place has been gussied up quite a bit. Picket fence is off white, but if you know, you know. Asian kid in a Tufts hoodie just whipped by in a helmet and rollerblades. Didn't see much of that back in the day. The university sort of hid on the hillside, trying its best to be a baby Ivy. But the co-eds come here all the time now. Basketballs, tennis rackets, and pickleball paddles in tow, on bikes, benzos, and rollerblades. We used to bust ourselves up pretty good on rickety metal skates with clunky keys and leather straps. Nothing a little Vaseline and Mercurochrome couldn't handle. How did Henley put it in Invictus? Oh yeah, bloody but unbowed. Not too many white and off-white kids then, hanging out back here. It was as if the invisible lines that were drawn to keep us in sometimes kept other folks out too. Now they pretty much taken over. Duggar Park, the Roan tennis courts, the Hervey schoolyard, and 100 addresses on Arlington, Lincoln, and Jerome. A host of our remembered places, so few of our original faces. Meanwhile, back at Ronnie and Otis's old place, I'm still standing like that centurion, knowing that Jesus doesn't have to go in to heal his servant. He just has to speak a word. I guess I keep hoping he'll speak a word to that corner lot too and bring back the black and the brown and the tan. Across the street is the river. It's low tide, but the smell is gone and the grass is greener than I recall. That was our little park, away from Duggar and a lot less hectic. We had makeshift bases or discarded cones for football and softball. We lost a few in the river, but nobody was going in that muck to retrieve anything. We probably wade in that water today. They planted some trees there many years ago. They're all pretty big now, maple and ash, I think. Nobody plays baseball or football there anymore. But there are a lot of frolicking off-leash dogs and gaggles of fat geese, daring pitties, pugs, and poodles to chase them off. I can't imagine my childhood without losing a few softballs there. I can't imagine not hearing Mrs. Allen calling James Michael to come eat, or little Charlie watching us play from his folding chair because his spindly legs were too weak to let him run. I can't imagine that I'm still here. But Ronnie and Otis, Darrell King, Frankie French, Aaron McDaniel, and Marky Davis are all gone. Everyone had a nickname back then. Darrell was super fast, so we called him Roadrunner and Jackrabbit. Mark was as thick as a big tree trunk, so we came up with Oak for him. Aaron was Spud, Frankie was Fruit Man, and I was Top Cat. Too cool, ran the school. Everyone wants the corner lot, a little more land, and perhaps the new perspectives that angles create. I wonder if that meant anything to Ronnie and Otis, or Jed and Miles and Gibb, Berry, Coco, Keith Wing, and Kenny Byfield. It certainly meant something to the white folks looking to displace, transplant, and uproot the local color. Black folks build homes here, the only place where they were allowed to be, where they could color inside the lines Medford once drew against the perceived discomforts of darker skin. We were here first firefighters, police officers, war heroes, shop owners, tradesmen, postal chiefs, teachers, artists, and preachers. We were the human bedrock of the only neighborhood they let us build. The old church is gone. Nelson even changed the street number as if to erase the fact that the original Shiloh Baptist ever existed. But if you know, you know. That corner lot still has a cornerstone, 1900, and Nelson couldn't do a thing about it without a more draconian demolition. 2 more condos in the house of the Lord. 2 more houses that us first folk can't afford. 2 more dismissals of the blessings of his word. 1 more holy stone, rejected and ignored. You know what? I like that you like my poetry. I mean, really, I'm serious, because I respect what you do, and seeing, kind of your expressions and the way that you react to what I say, it's very meaningful to me.
Oh man, yeah, I absolutely love it. I love it. I love the way you tell stories, and you make it what one of my poetry professors when I was an undergrad called inarguable. Can't argue with your poem, and I love that. I love that it's just it's like, yes, that's his first, that's the right perspective. And there's no argument here. Like, it's absolutely beautiful. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very
And
much.
thank you for sharing your nicknames. I love that part. We all had nicknames.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had another piece that had like 50, and I just rattled them off in the middle of the poem. And when folks heard all of those different nicknames, because everybody in that particular audience was familiar with all of these people, they were
Oh wow.
amazed that any one person could remember all of those nicknames because they probably spanned about 70 years.
That's dope.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really dope.
It was
Yeah.
fun. That's a fun poem.
Yeah, because and that's when it's fun, especially when the people in the audience are like, "Oh, wait, oh, yep."
Yeah.
That's why I love doing poems at weddings and things like
Yes.
that, where
Yes.
people in the audience catch the little things that you're saying about the couple, and they're like, "Oh, we know about that.
Yeah.
Like, you got that
Yeah.
little inside joke," and
Yeah.
you put it in there. So,
Yeah, homegoing poems are like that as well. I've had to do several, different, and I've done some eulogies as well, but and woven poetry into them. And what I usually do is I go in and sit with the family and have them tell
hmm
me things about, the deceased that, that I wouldn't have known. And
yeah,
then I can build a bespoke poem out of the recollections and reflections. And then when they hear it, they're like, wow,
yeah. How'd you do that?
you
Yeah.
got her, you got him. My goodness.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. I do that with couples
Yeah,
and with the family when I write.
yeah,
It's just so that they're like, "Oh man,
yeah,
yeah, yeah."
yeah.
Oh.
Very good.
Because that's those words give you, words give you strength and the power, and words can heal. And so if
Absolutely.
we use our words, to build community.
Hmm.
And I think that's really what I want to see in this next year is poets that are using their words to
Yeah,
build community,
yeah,
to build educational
yeah.
moments
Hmm.
for those who don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that that is powerful, is to use our power for good.
yeah,
Because we
yeah.
could very well, be out and use our power to tear things down and tear things apart. But during this next year and 4 years, to use our words to
Yeah,
build community,
yeah, yeah,
connection.
yeah, yeah.
And
And
that's
empower
what's
empower
necessary.
folks to to gather, and to
Mhm.
hold on and to repair some things that the system, quote unquote, is no longer going to be willing or interested in repairing. We're going to have to be the ones that kind of repair those things ourselves to the extent that we're capable.
Yes,
I mean,
yes. And I
there's
think,
not.
getting
Yeah.
getting this PhD, we talked a lot about the system
Hmm.
and whether or not the system is doing what it was created to do. And we're talking about system of education, specifically,
Hmm.
but understanding that the system that we are fighting is doing exactly what it was created to do.
There you go. Yeah.
And so, if we are really going to bring about change, we
Hmm.
have one or two choices. We either build a system inside the system that will
Hmm.
eventually correct it,
Yeah.
because we can't get out of, or we tear the whole system down.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really have much options outside of that if you
Right.
want change.
That's right.
And so I think that the system for us as artists and poets is to build the system within the
Hmm.
system that we know is existing. It's pushing us all. We all gotta make money. We all gotta get checks, and that's a system. But to build inside of that system
Hmm.
something that will bring us together
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Resiliency and
bring about peace.
compassion
Yeah.
and truth and humility and the fruit of the spirit, you
Yeah.
know, has to be flowing within that internal system that we build, in transparency and honesty, really, has to be
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I
And
think,
as we started out with, invulnerability.
yeah, I think that, you know, as people, I'm a person of faith, and I know that you are. I look at example in the Bible of Joseph
Hmm.
and all that he went through, and he was sitting up under Pharaoh.
Yes.
Wasn't that great of a dude, but because of the anointing and the giftedness that he had, he was
Hmm.
able to bring all of his people together
Yeah.
under Pharaoh.
That's right. That's right. System
And
within a
so
system,
it's
just like
like
you said.
that's there's power there. And when we
There is.
realize that, that's what we're looking for. Like we're looking for the anointing and the calling to do just that.
Hallelujah. That's a word right there, sis. Word. That's a word right there. Very good.
Thanks for kicking it with me, Terry. Terry.
Hey, hey, anytime, any place, you know it. You know it. If I can get there, I'll come, you know. Next, and
Yeah, I'm about to start
if
my
I,
podcast back up, so I gotta get you there. I had to get settled into this PhD this last few
that's more
months.
than
I've been
noted.
like, yeah. So now that I'm settled back in, restart my podcast, and what I'm wanting to do is probably see if we can't just pre-record some of these and then just release them
Hmm.
on, first
Yeah,
Sundays at 6 o'clock, and then they just get released. So we can pre-record them, and then they can just go out for people to watch.
yeah,
And that's how we can kind of keep this going.
yeah,
Uh, because I know the Sundays get weird, and so I think when we
sure.
do our next board meeting, I'm going to ask them if that's something that they would be okay to do.
Hmm.
It's just kind of set up and do like four, you know,
Quarter of the year.
first
Done.
Sundays,
Hmm.
but do them during a week
Boom, boom, boom,
or
boom,
on the
boom.
same day, and then just have them set up to release.
Yeah.
Because that way we will know they're going out there and people can know, we can do a
Hmm.
premiere and the whole nine,
Yeah.
like a TV
Yeah.
show.
I like it. I like it. Yeah. Right. All
Well,
right.
tell everybody where they could send money if they wanted to bless you after listening to this,
Okay.
because that's what we are. We're poets. We still are
Right.
artists. We still
Right.
like getting cash apps.
Right.
So tell everybody your cash app or your Venmo, and go ahead.
Let me think. What I gotta think about it. My Cash App is, hold on, let me grab my phone real quick.
You're like, wait a minute. Let me get the phone
I'm
out.
having a moment, one of those senior moments. Okay, here we go. Who am I? That is too funny that when you look for yourself, you can't find yourself.
And I think you already gave us your email. You put it in the chat here. So
Yeah, well,
everybody, the
anybody wants
email.
to do PayPal, they can do it through my email address. I think I'm BSP. I'm BSP something. Oh yeah, I'm $ BS Poetry.
Okay. $ BS
BS
Poetry
Poetry. You want to
is
put it in the
Cash
chat?
App. And then if you want to do PayPal, you can do it through email. And it's just simply Terry,
Gotcha.
Terry,
Yep.
period, Carter, Carter, at gmail.com.
Yeah.
So there you go. Bless this wonderful poet if you watch this and it touched you a little bit. Also, if you would like to join the National Black Poet Laureate Society,
And you
our
should.
Cash App is $ National BPLS. So,
Yeah.
definitely, if you want to donate to the cause of Black poets from all over the country, you can do that. Or if you are a Black Poet Laureate and you want to join the society, just hit us up. You can also email us at blackpoetlaureates@gmail.com. We love y'all, and we'll be back next month. Oh, next month and next year. It's 2025. I can't believe
Hallelujah.
it.
You ain't never lied.
This year went so fast. Oh my
Flew
goodness.
by. Absolutely.
So, yeah, we're starting a new year now, guys.
Yeah.
So, we'll see you guys in 2025, January 2025, with another Sundays with Black Poet Laureates.
Peace.
Peace.
See you later, sis.